And you're listening to Jesus Christ, That's Funny with me. I'm Ethan Moore, and that's Pastor Dwayne Black over there.
How are you? Nice to see you.
I'm good, man. And that was Billy Joe Shaver.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joe.
Billy Joe? Yeah,
Billy Joe
right,
Shaver.
okay, yeah.
I'm glad you're such
Country,
a big fan there. Yeah. Outlaw country star doing our theme song.
It's very good. Really
He
good.
doesn't know.
Yeah.
He'd probably sue us.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah, we'd get some controversy.
That would be really good. I'd like that.
It'd be a tipping point for the podcast.
Everything would go up from here.
If you're out there, Billy Joe, we took your song. We didn't ask you.
That's right. And we didn't pay you anything.
We didn't.
At all.
I feel like though, Billy Joe Shaver,
He'd probably go along with it.
I think he would agree with the content of this podcast.
He probably would.
I think he'd be down. I'd like to talk to him someday about it. Maybe I'll get the chance.
Well, if you live long enough, you look a little bit pale. Is everything okay?
You said I look pale. I don't.
Yep.
I don't feel pale.
Yeah, but you do.
I feel a little tired. I'll admit it.
You very little color in your face.
Wow.
It's in fact, why don't you just lay down now?
Yes, here I am on my farewell episode of
right.
Jesus Christ, That's Funny. I've been tired. I've been burning the candle at both ends lately.
What have you been doing?
So many things. Oh my God, it's crazy. I actually did get sick this last week.
Really?
I had a cold. Yeah.
What kind?
I feel good now. I feel like it's over.
But
pretty much.
It's not. It's really not. I'm telling you. I'm looking at you.
Apparently,
it's not.
in my countenance it tells the tale.
I'm going to spray down the table when this gets through.
Yeah, you better. It's that Zika that we've been hearing about. Zika virus. No, I don't know. I think I'm wearing a black shirt. I think
Maybe
it's just
that's
the contrast.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've been getting a decent amount of sun.
You usually come in here. You've got your little mat for doing yoga.
I just did yoga, by the way, an hour ago.
Were you doing anything upside down that would?
A lot of upside down stuff.
Yeah.
Is that why I'm pale?
Yeah, something's going on there. Something's happening.
I think I've just been. I got a little sick, and I've been running myself ragged. I've got to admit it.
So what have you been doing? I haven't seen you around in a while.
I know it's people are wondering like what happened to the podcast. We took about a 2.5-3 week break here, and it wasn't really intentional on either of our parts. Yeah, just life gets in the way. We're going to try to keep more consistent about it. But no, what I've been up to. Okay, let me think about it. So I'm doing improv now.
That's really great.
A lot of improv. Yeah. I actually my Sunday schedule is crazy because I do. Well, Saturday night I do Sex on Kava.
Right.
I'm wearing the shirt right now, Sex on Kava. Check that out, sexonkava.com. And we're getting like more and more listeners. It's crazy. It's just like so much more attention for that podcast.
Oh, that's cool. That is great.
This last week we did our 1 year episode. 52,
You've been doing this for a year. That's great.
52 weeks, 52 episodes. We never missed a week. Yeah.
Wow.
Every Saturday.
And you had things going on too. I mean, there were people that had issues and problems, and
we've lost a news girl. We've gained a news girl. We've had situations where my partner Rich hasn't been able to do it, and we've had someone substitute in. We've come through every week and been able to put something out there.
That's really.
Yeah, no, it's a blessing. It's been great.
So you're doing stand up also, and
a lot of stand up, but the craziest thing is just my weekend schedule right now. Like I do the podcast on Saturday night,
right? And
oftentimes I'll have stand up before that.
Okay.
And so then that podcast goes till about 3 a.m.
Wow.
I usually get home around 4 or 4:30. Get to bed by 4:35. Then I have to wake up and go to improv in Miami by 1. So I get about 7 hours of sleep, maybe if I'm lucky, and then rush down to Miami to do improv for 7 hours.
For 7 hours.
I'm doing 7 hours of improv now in Miami. I have 2 improv classes in a row.
That's great.
And then I come back and rush to an open mic in Fort Lauderdale. And last week I had a show there.
Right.
So I actually had a show in Fort Lauderdale right after the improv. I had to actually leave like 15 minutes early from improv. And then I did an open mic after the show also.
Wow.
So, and then Monday, now I'm producing this show in Lake Worth, live stand-up show in Lake Worth with my friend Eric Rosenblum.
That is so
cool. At a place called Havana Hideout. And it's every Monday at 8 p.m.
I know exactly where that is.
You know that place?
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool, right? It's outside.
Yeah. It was actually written up as having some of the best fish tacos in all of Palm Beach.
They do have great fish tacos, and now they have a great comedy night every Monday.
That is really terrific.
That replaces, and here's the other thing that happened since we did the podcast. Kava Comedy Monday went away. That was my weekly.
Yeah. What happened there?
Well, racism. I don't know. South Florida racism. Basically, the owner of the building, so not Rich Kennedy, who owns the Kava Bar, the venue,
but the owner of the building,
his landlord, the guy that owns the building, who's a very large landowner in South Florida, he was complaining that there were too many. I don't know if I want to use the word here on a family podcast, but he used a racial slur.
Oh,
an Italian racial slur.
Really? Man, come on.
For really? Black people, and so there were too many of them out back on Monday nights congregating, and which is like these are like we have black performers, we have white performers, we have, and there are people that patronize that podcast of every race. And it's strange, sort of, that he singled out the Monday night. But,
and what's this bigot's name?
Well, he's a powerful man. His name is Max Sebastiani. And he owns a lot of the real estate in the area.
He does.
So he was not happy with, the basically he just, I don't know. He's like, it's attracting a certain element, we have all these, people use all these code words,
Yeah, they do.
It's really ridiculous. But he didn't use that many code words, to be honest. He used some very specific words. And I got this all secondhand, but I was told that was the reason. So we actually so there's no more shows going on at Awana Kava Lounge right now.
That's terrible. Yeah. That's terrible.
And it's not, and anyone out there, I mean, it's not Rich's fault. Like, Rich wanted to continue the show.
Right.
Rich Kennedy, the owner, he was immensely supportive all the way through. We went through some different iterations with Kava Comedy Monday. We changed it up a couple times to try to keep people coming in the door and keep things exciting. And Rich was, Rich wanted it always, he was always adamant, he's a businessman, he was adamant that it make money.
Right, yeah.
And there were times when it kind of dipped in terms of the amount he was making, and then we had to change things the way we did it. So we switched from an open mic to a booked show. Yeah. We made some other changes, and every time we made changes, things changed for the positive in terms of his bottom line. So it was always a good, over the long haul, it was a good business decision for him. It brought a lot of attention to the Kava Bar as well. And
there was a lot of things. Yeah.
We had famous New York comics coming in. We had people dropping in from L.A. and New York, and people coming in who really had serious profile. And this became one of the most respected all comedy open mics in South Florida. So we did it for a year and 3 months. So it was great that we had a great run, and it was really rewarding for me to be a part of it. So I'm happy that I was able to do it. And I'm sad that it had to end, but it's not,
Well,
it's, what does they say, la vie?
Is there another business across the street that you'd like to open the same thing in and just run it?
Probably owned by the same guy. Yeah. He seems to own everything in the area. So, no, it's like I said, I mean, I'm doing this thing in Lake Worth now at Havana Hideout. Yeah. That's my Monday night now.
And that's a really cool little place. Lake Worth's actually a really cool area.
Lake Worth, very gentrified and revitalized right now. So it's like sort of a nice little area where you can just walk around and shopping. And it looks like, I don't know, I mean, not like New Orleans exactly, but more like I don't know how I would describe it. It's kind of like a nice downtown kind of area. Yeah, there's like lots and lots of bars and shops and restaurants, and you could stroll around. It's nice.
It's an older Key West. I mean, it's got that same feel to
it. Like
a
Duval Street kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's not as crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got a little bit of that party town kind of vibe, like Key West or like Bourbon Street or Duval Street or something. Yeah. But it's not turned up to that high level. No. Yeah. It's not all the way up to 11. No. Yeah. It's maybe around 6. It's nice.
But it is. It's a great place. I was actually going to go up and preach. There's a church up there that has asked me to come up and preach a couple times. And I thought, well, what a great thing. I'd just stay the whole Sunday night there, Cruise up and down the streets.
You can do that. Yeah. Yeah, there's people drinking beers and stuff, but there's also like, people walking a baby carriage and stuff. So it's sort of that in-between kind of vibe. Yeah. Friendly. It's a friendly place. So, we had a good turnout these last couple of weeks. We've been doing it. We've ended up with some great comics coming out. And we've had really good feedback from the crowd.
That's
so
really cool.
it's cool, and so I'm looking forward to continuing to do that.
And the improv, Monday. What's happening really? That's something completely new. You've never been talking about that.
Yeah, we're really just going over everything in my life right now. Improv.
Well, I just want to. Next, we go to my
love life.
Yeah.
Improv is great. I love it.
Are we talking about your love life, or are we talking? Okay.
I think it's all
it's all connected. Okay.
Absolutely. I'll tell you about improv in my love life.
That's right.
Okay. Here's the best thing about improv. Hot girls, man.
Really?
So many beautiful women involved in improv.
Why?
I don't know, but stand-up comedy does not attract them.
No.
There's a couple, but it's not as like improv. It'll be like you take an improv class and it's 70% women, and most of them are good looking.
Wow.
I take my improv in Miami.
Wow.
And there was a method to my madness there.
Why? What was that?
Miami has hot Latina chicks.
That's it.
No, also.
Are you sure you want this secret out?
No, it's okay. That I'm gonna, this podcast. I'm always honest.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say too honest. I'm gonna say that was a little bit of my motivation.
Really?
Yeah. I just had a feeling that if I took an improv class in Miami, there'd be a lot of beautiful women. But that was not my main motivation. My main motivation was, two things. One was I saw a couple of my stand-up colleagues perform, and I saw them, the ones that had improv, there's one in particular, a guy named David Del Rosario, and he had improv training. And I watched him go up in front of a crowd a few months ago at an open mic, and or actually it was at a book show in Miami, and he just destroyed with no jokes.
Really? Just explain.
Just talk to the crowd.
He just talked to him.
Yeah, he had 1.5 jokes or something, and he did 10 minutes and talked to the crowd and destroyed. He had the entire crowd in the palm of his hand, and everyone loved it. And I was like, wow, that's just something that I have no idea how to do, because I do material, and I like doing material, and I want to keep doing material, but I want to be able to add that ability to just vibe with the crowd a little bit more to my skill set. And
so did he play off the crowd? Did he ask them to comment back to him or anything like that?
Talk to the crowd.
Just talk to the crowd.
He talked to individual people in the crowd. He talked to the whole crowd. He got comments back. He always had something to say. Yeah. He has improv training, and I knew he had improv training, and it just really inspired me. So seeing him do that was like that was something that pushed me towards improv. And also a couple of other comics that I admire, like for example, Kat Toledo in Miami. She has lots and lots of improv training, and I've always admired the way that she was able to work with the crowd. So she's another person, and then I saw all these people up in Boca doing this, who do this improv stuff, and I didn't really. I like, and some of them have done comedy too, but I didn't feel like the improv troupe in Boca was what I wanted to do. I just felt like if I went to Miami, it would be a little more raw and a little more real. I don't know how else to describe it. I just feel like it's more gritty.
Well, my sister does improv in Chicago, and there's not a lot of pretty women there. I mean, they're just really kind of strange looking, but they're all really cool and really, really good.
Well, in Chicago, bikini weather's only 2.5 months, so why be pretty, really? I mean...
And when are you going up to Chicago, aren't you?
I'm going to be in Chicago in July. Yeah,
okay,
for a podcast movement, big podcast conference.
Very cool. Very cool.
Looking forward to that. If I make it that long, I may keel over here.
I don't know. There's a little bit of color coming back to your face.
It's coming back.
I'm not sure what that is.
That's
Maybe
good.
It's a green tea or something like that.
Thank you. Yes, this green tea is a balm, some sort of
it's organic,
like a Gilead kind of balm. I don't know. What was that thing about balm in Gilead? I never really got that.
I know.
What's so great about Gilead?
It's great. It's special. It's really special. Hey, you know what I'm doing right now?
What are you doing?
I mean, not right this second.
You're playing with the wire on the microphone there.
That's right. No, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a series called 10 Ways to a Better Life, and it's all based on the 12-step program.
Oh, okay.
I found that I could jam 2 of the steps into one, and I could make it a 10 steps.
So you're stealing?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am.
This is like
it's good though. It's really good
a 7-minute abs.
That's it.
Right.
This is I got 3-minute abs here.
Yeah. You can do it faster. Instead of 8 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay.
No, but it's really good. I mean, and I've had a lot of people that they've seen the start of this, and they're kind of going like, "This is really cool. This is really neat." So it is. It's a big crossover. Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's kind of a neat thing going on.
I saw you with your concordances and exegeses.
Yes,
going through things and marking things down and making voice notes. And
it is, yeah. I actually dictate most everything. So
do you?
Yeah, it's just faster and quicker.
I feel like you should have one of those like 40 secretaries. It should be like, she's ringing the typewriter and she brings you coffee and
I like that. I
has
would
a
like that.
snappy comeback for everything.
No, I would like that. When I was down at Hawks Cay, I was an executive member of their staff. I had secretaries, and that was really kind of cool. It was really great. Yeah, I was terrific. It was, I could dictate things as I was driving, and the next morning I'd come into work and it was already typed out and ready to go.
Wow.
And I was like, this is just too good. Never been able to get that again, but that was really fun.
Where was that at?
Hawks Cay Resort. I was one of the executive staff down there.
Oh, that was before you were a pastor.
That's before I was into pastor, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't get that when you choose the ministry.
No, you don't.
You could. You think you could because
really?
There's all these. Because there's all these. Your flock. You just tell them if you want to go to heaven, and you volunteer to work in my office for free. And you've got a whole slew of them now. Okay, they're lined up around the block.
Okay, so I'm working on this thing for this Sunday, and I need to ask you a real serious question.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, faith. What is faith to you? What is faith to you?
Just stop the podcast in its tracks. Why don't you, there, Pastor? Faith. I don't know. I guess.
You're squinting.
I know. I'm looking deep within here. I think faith is when you. I mean, I guess a question that always comes to mind for me is faith a choice?
That's a very Jewish answer to answer a question with a question. That was really good.
What are you trying to say? Are you saying I'm evading the question in a Jewish way? What does that mean? Is that a
Jewish
slur? What's happening?
I love it. It's great. It's great. So what was your question again?
I said that is faith a choice? Is something that would be my question to help us try to find the answer. Is
faith a choice? I don't know. I think it's divided into two sections, what I would guess, and one is beliefs, and then one is mystery. And you can't have faith without doubt. Right?
Okay.
Right? I mean, if you really think about it, you can't have faith without doubt. If it's something that you see, you can tangibly touch, it's not faith.
Well, it just becomes
doubt.
It becomes an article of, belief, or an article of what is it? It's just a piece of evidence, or it's like a fact about the world.
Right. Exactly.
So it's no longer required to have faith.
Right. And that so faith requires doubt, which is an interesting thing to talk about. The idea, how does that work? Because as soon as you run into any faith that has all the answers, as the brilliant theologian Sean Penn said, if you got all the answers, it's fake.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I guess what I always come to with this sort of thing is like what's like the ground of all this stuff to me is like the ultimate question, which is that shouldn't life be meaningless? Because if you look at all the evidence, if you look at sort of like where we are, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but like to me it's like if you look at all the terrible things that happen to people, and like just the sort of senselessness of the cosmos, and we're just this evolved species hurtling on this rocket, whatever it is, 60,000 miles an hour through the galaxy, or per second, or I don't even know how fast we're going. But
that explains why I feel dizzy sometimes.
I do too. Maybe that's why I'm so pale.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, and we're just traveling, and it seems like there should be.
But isn't that like mind blowing that you're traveling through space and you're sitting on? We.
It's mind blowing, but it's also it's sort of like you're sort of insignificant. Who needs an airplane? That's right. But you're sort of insignificant, is the point. And it's like, why should anything you do matter? Why isn't the meaning of life to just, since there's no real consequences to anything. Like I don't believe in an afterlife or anything like that, and so it's like I don't think there's any sort of consequence. So why don't you just isn't the point of life to just maximize your pleasure as much as you can, because eventually you're going to die, and even if you don't maximize your pleasure, it's like, well, you're still going to die. I mean, like no matter what happens, death is at the end of every road, and eventually the human race will be extinct. And there's all these sort of, like, when you start to think about things like that, and it's also, everything just becomes very insignificant. Everything gets washed away
now through
the years of history.
Yeah.
Right?
I understand why you're so pale now.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be in that casket that you have waiting outside.
We do. We have.
You have a casket.
Two
you have a casket for some.
Yeah.
Why do you have that casket? For some lucky son of a gun?
Well, we do have a casket. Somebody gave it to us that was not used, and so somewhere along the line, somebody's going to come along that doesn't have a casket, and we'll be able to provide that for them.
One lucky winner.
Sarcophagus.
If you want to apply for the casket sweepstakes, you go to Sanctuary FTL.
Jesus Christ, that's funny.
Yeah. I think it's funny that you're like, well, we're going to give this casket to someone. I'm like, who wants that?
I know. Well,
like, someone's going to need this. I'm like, yeah, but you don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be the beneficiary of the church's benevolence on that one.
I wanted, I asked you earlier. I said, why don't you just lay down in it for us?
Just to see how I feel.
Pictures of it. Yeah,
I'll do that.
We'll close it for a second or two.
Okay.
And then we'll open it and see, how that feels, and that.
When I wake up, are you going to have a stake plunging through my heart?
It's the scraping on the top of it that I'm worried about.
Right.
Let me out.
I'm gonna hear like a shovel full of dirt landing on the top.
Wait, let me out.
Well, it's all bleak,
Everybody dies, Ethan.
Everybody dies.
Don't worry. It's just your time.
It's a bleak picture of reality, and it's hard to and I definitely was depressed by that, especially back when I was using drugs and stuff.
Right.
I thought about that stuff a lot, and I always felt like, well, hedonism is the only answer, because you might as well just maximize your pleasure.
Right.
But of course, you realize that even if you do maximize your pleasure, in the end, what's the point of any of that?
Right.
Because you still just die.
Well, and so you said
eventually I'm going to come back around to faith, but go ahead.
You were using drugs, and it seemed. Do you feel that drew you away from your relationship with God? Because you had a very strong relationship, and probably stronger now than before.
Well,
the silence.
I'm an atheist, so no, I'm. I'm not really an atheist.
No, you're not. You have to believe in too many things to be an atheist.
I'm a pantheist, but yeah. I mean, I think that, of course, when you use drugs. When I used drugs, I isolated myself. It was a way of being alone, separate from everyone, and therefore separate from the divine, because I think God is in everyone.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it was isolating. It's like one of the chief symptoms of addiction, I think.
And don't you think addiction, one of the things, what is it? The third step is about this idea of turning your life over to this supreme being, this...
I don't know anything about the steps. No.
Well, I'm just amazed by it, because it seems like there's this connection that I have to... That's what faith is the idea of like turning yourself and say, okay, I believe that God can direct my life. Usually because you've driven it down to yourself pretty badly.
Yeah, that's right. And you hit bottom, yeah.
You go, okay, I'm not God. I get it. So maybe God can do better with my life in my direction.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool.
No, well, so I would say that for me, so this comes back to the idea of it being a choice, and it comes back to this question of like, things are so bleak.
Choices.
So why would one believe in anything? And you know what I mean? Like the evidence. Right. So to me, here's how, maybe not why, because maybe why is the wrong question, but here's how I believe. Because despite all the bleakness,
right.
and the fact that it seems like there should be no reason to believe in anything because death is at the end of every road, and there's no real reason to believe in anything beyond us. Somehow,
Camus, I think it's right.
Yeah. It's very nihilistic, very existentialist, and somehow, despite all that, we're still able to believe.
Yeah.
We can still have hope. Yeah. And I personally have had that moment when I hit bottom, and then I felt some connection with the divine. And that, to me, that also almost, that's the question of choice. It didn't really seem like it was a choice at a certain point. The only choice I made was to keep following it. So in other words, when I hit bottom and I felt like I was at the bottom of a hole, at the deepest, darkest moment of my addiction. And then I reached up and asked someone else for help. And I feel like at that moment when I reached up, it was almost like there was no ladder, but a ladder like appeared at that moment when I reached out for it. And then my only choice was to reach up and grab the next rung in the ladder and then keep going. And in that sense, I think there's kind of an element of choice in faith in terms of the choice to keep following.
Absolutely. I
believe to get up every day and keep the pressure on.
It's all about choice. I mean, it all starts with choice, and the idea is that you start and you choose to do this, and then it gets a little darker, and you choose to do this, and it gets a little darker, and it gets a little darker, and suddenly the choice becomes a habit. Yeah. And now you can't get out of it. And so, I watch somebody like, Bishop Tutu, and he has every reason to not be, just to hate the world and hate everything about it. And have you heard him laugh? I mean, he is addicted to joy.
Why does Desmond Tutu?
Yeah.
Why does he have reasons to hate?
Well, he's been in prison forever and ever.
Is he in prison?
Yeah, yes,
still?
Yeah. No, not anymore. But if you hear him talk, and you hear him talk about love and joy and all these things, and you hear him laugh. I sat and watched him and what was it? It was Bishop Tutu and
the Maytals.
No.
Oh no, that was the Toots and the Maytals. Sorry.
He's one of these types of people that he loves. He tickles people. He's
weirdo.
Just, yeah, no, he's great. He's really great. But the thing is
priest going around tickling people. I don't know.
He's actually addicted to joy. And it's because you choose each day to be, I look for joy.
He's got to get into recovery for that.
That's right. I think I could. Hi, my name is Dwayne. Hi, Dwayne. How you doing? I'm addicted to joy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here we go.
Keep coming back. One day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time.
We'll get you right on to self-loathing and hatred.
That's right. The world is dark. Everybody's going to die. Okay.
That's right.
Okay,
right. Meaningless lump of rock hurtling through the cosmos. Well,
the Dalai Lama, that's who he was with. He was with the Dalai Lama.
It's weird, man. Just imagine like Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama hanging out.
They tickle each other.
Tickling each other.
They're funny as can be.
Really weird.
I saw them and I watched them greet each other and they went like that and they laugh. And I'm thinking these are two people that somehow have got.
Don't have to pay rent.
That's right.
That's the main thing. They don't.
They're addicted to joy.
Don't have to come up with that monthly rent. It's all joy and tickling.
That's it. See, you're getting color in your face. I see you laughing. This is good.
Making some jokes.
There you go.
I just want. That is funny. Well, I wanted to say about faith though. So we were talking about how it is a choice to do it every day, to follow it every day, and to keep following faith. I guess is what I would say in the divine, whatever that means to you out there in podcast land. But I also feel like there's an element of it that's not a choice.
What is that?
So, at that deepest, darkest moment, when I was in that hole in my addiction at the lowest point, and I felt like I came in contact with the divine, I think that the point of contact, it wasn't a choice. It happened to me. And I think it happened to me in the way that like Kierkegaard talks about being, I don't know the word he uses, but he talks about sort of being struck by God or being, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like the divine presence like reaches out and grabs you.
Right.
And you could lie, I guess. That would be the choice. You could lie about it to yourself and say that didn't really happen. I'm going to deny it. And then I'm just going to keep going deeper and darker into whatever hole I can find. But I think that moment when if it hits you, if the divine presence hits you, and I think I was waiting for my entire life for that to happen to me, by the way. That's the other thing. Yeah. And when that happens to you, I think you do have a choice. You have a choice to go ahead and follow it and then to keep following it. But you don't have a choice about whether it happens to you.
No.
And you can't make it happen to you. And you can't make it happen to someone else. It has to be, it's something that just happens. And that's the mystery maybe that you were talking about in terms of faith having that mysterious content.
Muhammad, been doing some study on Islam, and Muhammad experienced that when he talks about coming in contact with the divine, because we're talking about the same God. We're talking about this one God, and he talks about
says you.
So did they say that. So the idea is that he comes in contact with the divine, and the emotions, what flows over him, he almost wants to kill himself because it's to a point where it's too much to take, too much swollen, just comes out of him that he's like, I can't do this. And he thinks about it. And the first thought is he thinks, this is something that's probably, it's just something I ate. It's an aberration.
Sure.
But then he goes through
There's more of gravy than of grave to you. Maybe a splotch of mustard.
But the thing is that,
Dickens.
In Christian and Jewish faith, the experiences with God are always kind of things where people are questioning throughout the Jewish religion. It's always they question God. But this is a guy who actually fears God and says, this is too much, I cannot stand it. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing to hear somebody that fears that the emotion of coming in contact with the divine is just too much to take.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that it can be too much to take.
It would be, right? Yeah.
And that it would be.
Yeah.
It's, because it's, well, I don't know. Well,
you came in contact.
I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, exactly. For me, it was like, it wasn't too much because it was like I needed something.
Right, but I mean, you use words that you can wrap your head around, and that is that there was like a ladder, and you had to climb out, and one rung at a time. Rung at a time. That's not what it was, but that's what you can wrap your brain around. We try to use human words to talk about things that we cannot use words for.
Yeah, that's right.
I just think that's pretty interesting. You've used that vision a couple times, and I thought
that's the best thing I could come up with. It's hard to explain.
No, I like
it.
Like you
really said, yeah. So that's how I feel. Wow. So here we are at the end of this episode. Yep. How do you feel, Pastor?
I feel pretty good. You helped me a lot. You've worked through this with me.
You've helped me, although I feel like I'm still pale.
You're actually getting color, and there's joy in your face.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're a terrible liar.
No, I'm serious. But I am a terrible liar.
Well, what if people want to hear you lie on Sunday morning? Where can they come?
They come to the Sanctuary Church, 1400 North Federal Highway, here in Fort Lauderdale. Or they can go to our website, which is the sanctuarychurchftl.org, and see us there.
Okay.
And if they want to come see you with Sex on Kava, where are we doing that?
Well, I encourage people to go ahead and check out my website, right. Which is sexonkava.com. Also, follow me on Instagram at sexonkava. That's our Instagram account for Sex on Kava. Great podcast. Not safe for work, but very interesting stuff every week on there, I promise. It's a fascinating, we call it evening zoo.
Yeah.
It's like a morning zoo, but it's like kind of a nighttime thing. And it's wacky and weird, and it's very funny. So cool. Listen to it if you want to love something different than Jesus Christ, That's Funny. And also you can follow me on Facebook. You can get me on Facebook, just look up Ethan Moore, but you can also find me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, at Ethan is not funny.
Yeah, and your Snapchats are great.
Really thanks. Good, you watch me on Snapchat?
Oh, yeah.
I try to keep Snapchat funny. That's my newest thing. I'm really enjoying that. So, follow me on there. Also, don't forget to check out every Monday night in downtown Lake Worth, Havana Ha-Ha's. That's what we're calling the show. And that's a local weekly showcase of South Florida comedic talent. Every Monday night, 8 p.m., Havana Hideout in Lake Worth, Florida. Totally free show. Just come out and try the fish tacos and enjoy the show.
Yep. Have a good time. It'll be fun.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Jesus Christ, That's Funny.
It's great being with you here.
And the feeling is mutual.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks